Snow fell silently across the empty plains, covering the earth like a cold white blanket. The year was ending, and the night of New Year's Eve felt lonelier than ever. Ethan Cole, known across the frontier as a quiet gunslinger, rode slowly through the frozen trail. His coat was dusted with snow, his hat pulled low, and his eyes sharp despite the bitter wind. He wasn't a man of many words, and even fewer people knew his past. But tonight something felt different. As his horse stepped carefully along the narrow road, Ethan noticed a small figure near an abandoned wooden shelter. At first he thought it was just a pile of cloth, until it moved. He pulled the reins. There, curled against the broken wall, was a woman. She was thin, wrapped in torn fabric, her black hair tangled and dusted with snow. Her face was pale, lips trembling from the cold. She looked barely alive. Ethan dismounted slowly, cautious but concerned. "Hey," he said, his voice low. The woman stirred, her eyes opening weakly. Dark, frightened eyes met his. She tried to move, but her body wouldn't respond. "Don't hurt me," she whispered in broken English. Ethan frowned slightly. "I'm not here to hurt you." He crouched beside her and noticed how badly she was shaking. "What are you doing out here?" She hesitated, then softly said, "No home." Her name, he would soon learn, was Lian Hua. She had come from far away, crossing oceans and lands with hope in her heart. But life hadn't welcomed her kindly. The people she trusted had abandoned her. The money she had was stolen, and now, on the coldest night of the year, she had nothing left. No shelter, no family, no hope. Ethan stood silent for a moment, looking at her. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't a savior. He was just a man who had seen too much pain to ignore it anymore. He took off his heavy coat and wrapped it around her. Then he said quietly, "Come home with me, if you want." Lian looked at him, confused, suspicious. "Why?" she asked weakly. Ethan paused, then replied, "Because you won't survive the night out here." There was no kindness in his tone, just truth. And somehow, that made her trust him. A new beginning. Ethan lifted her gently onto his horse and walked beside them through the snow. His cabin wasn't far, hidden deep in the woods where few people ever came. When they arrived, Lian was barely conscious. He carried her inside, laid her near the fire, and gave her warm water. He cooked what little food he had, simple stew, and waited until she could eat. Days passed. At first, Lian barely spoke. She watched Ethan carefully, as if expecting him to change. But he didn't. He never asked for anything, never touched her without reason, never raised his voice. He simply lived his quiet life and let her stay. Slowly, she began to help. Cleaning the cabin, cooking small meals, fixing torn clothes, and slowly, the silence between them became something else. Comfort. Two broken souls. One evening, as the fire crackled and snow fell outside, Lian finally asked, "Why you help me?" Ethan stared into the flames. "I know what it's like to have no one," he said. That was all. But it was enough. From that moment, something changed. Lian began to smile more. Her laughter, soft and rare, filled the cabin with warmth. She started learning more English. And Ethan, though awkward, tried to understand her language too. They were different in every way, but loneliness speaks the same language everywhere. The threat. Peace never lasts forever. One afternoon, 3 rough men arrived at the cabin. They had seen Lian before. "Found you," one of them sneered. "Thought you could run?" Lian froze in fear. They were the ones who had taken everything from her. Ethan stepped forward, his hand slowly resting near his gun. "She stays here," he said calmly. The men laughed. "Not your business, gunslinger." Ethan's eyes hardened. "It is now." What followed was quick and brutal. The silence of the woods shattered with gunfire. And when it ended, the men were gone. Ethan stood still, breathing heavy. Lian ran to him, tears in her eyes. "You risk life for me." Ethan looked at her and simply said, "You're not alone anymore." A homebrew song. Spring came slowly, melting the snow and bringing life back to the land. The cabin, once silent and cold, now felt warm and alive. Lian planted flowers outside. Ethan repaired the fence. They worked together side by side. One evening, as the sun set in golden light, Lian stood beside him. "I stay if you want," she said softly. Ethan looked at her, a rare smile touching his face. "I was hoping you would." What started on a freezing New Year's Eve, as a simple act of kindness, became something neither of them expected. Not love at first sight, not a fairy tale, but something stronger. Two broken people, building a life together, and for the first time in years, they both had a place to call home.